Really sweeping and systematic reforms. France and the international community have been pushing for a long time for an overhaul, really, of the things that have gone badly wrong in Lebanon's economy. So debt reduction, it's a hugely indebted country, sweeping reforms of its banking and finance system, privatization of the telecoms and electricity sectors. I mean, the electricity sector has been a symbol of things going wrong recently in Lebanon because it costs the public finances $2 billion a year, the equivalent, but there are widespread blackouts, even in Beirut at this moment. They want to modernise the country's legal framework and try and crack down on corruption. Lebanon is a very corrupt country, 137th out of 180 in Transparency International's corruption index. And it is a delicate power balance between Lebanon's different political and religious factions, of course, Sunni, Shiite, Christian. There are many groups here weighing for influence, and it's an extremely delicate balance. So trying to get them to agree on anything is hugely problematic, and reforms have been stalled for years. One of the reasons we saw protests breaking out last October, where people are so frustrated with the power balance, with the inertia of this corrupt ruling elite, which has become very wealthy, while the fundamentals of Lebanon's economy have been on the rocks. Lebanon's economy has been described as a kind of Ponzi scheme, which has really been unbalanced for decades, and it just collapsed very recently. So recently there have been sky-high interest rates trying to attract inward investment to pay off debts, and the Lebanese government printing more and more money, and it was unsustainable, really. So that there are huge reforms which need to take place in order for Lebanon to get an IMF loan of $10 billion, which would unlock $11 billion more of international funding, but they're very far away from this. At the moment, the Lebanese delegation in the IMF talks, which started in May, can't even agree on a diagnosis of just how in debt they are. So every single step is extremely complicated here. And Jean-Yves Le Drian had very diplomatic words there in Beirut today. But recently, just a few weeks ago here in Paris, he sent a message out to Lebanon's elite saying, "Help us to help you, damn it," using some very undiplomatic language indeed.
And how's the economic crisis playing out on the ground?
Yeah, it's really distressing for an awful lot of Lebanese people who've found their finances and their economic situation basically getting catastrophic overnight. The middle classes in Lebanon have seen their wealth basically disappear. Dollar withdrawals are blocked, and the country's currency, the lira, has in reality lost around 80% of its value in recent months. So on the black markets, rates are going up sky high, which means people's actual purchasing power is very reduced. So many middle class people who'd been living a very comfortable existence until recently are struggling to buy food, to feed their families. They're extremely worried. Lots of Lebanese young people who we saw participating in those protests at the end of last year are openly saying they're now looking to leave the country if they can. So you've got people going to language schools, people applying to universities abroad. There is clearly going to be even more of a brain drain. So people are very worried about things. Electricity blackouts, reports of criminality going up, exchanging goods for money because the money has become worthless. So it's very distressing for people right now, and it's clear the situation is not getting unblocked at the moment, so we can expect that to get worse.